I want to tell you something your doctor has probably never said during a routine appointment. Your brain begins changing after the age of 60, not years from now, not sometime in the future. Those changes are happening right now. Every morning you wake up without doing what I'm about to show you. Your brain may lose neurons it can't easily replace. The processes linked to Alzheimer's disease can continue to build over time, and the production of one of your brain's most important growth factors gradually declines. I know that sounds unsettling, and it may even sound like something you have no control over. But here's what most people are never told. There is one simple daily habit. It takes less than 5 minutes. It costs absolutely nothing. And research published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences found that, when performed correctly, it can increase BDNF production in the brain by 32%. If you've been following this channel, you've heard me talk about BDNF before. It's often called the brain's growth and repair protein. It helps support the formation of new neurons. It strengthens the connections involved in learning and memory. And after the age of 60, natural BDNF production gradually declines, making it harder for the brain to maintain those important functions. But here's what makes this habit especially remarkable. Research suggests it can help offset some of the effects of an unhealthy diet on brain aging. So even if you haven't yet made all the nutrition changes we've discussed throughout this series, this simple 5-minute morning habit can begin supporting your brain starting tomorrow. I'm going to save one very important detail until the end of this video, because there's one specific way to perform this habit that has been shown to increase BDNF by 32%. And there's another way that many people unknowingly do it, a version that provides little to no meaningful neurological benefit. That difference matters. So stay with me until the end, because I don't want you to miss it. My name is Dr. William Chen. I study the relationship between daily habits, nutrition, and healthy brain aging. And today, I want to share what may be the most accessible tool available to help support brain health for adults over the age of 60. You can do it almost anywhere. It doesn't require expensive equipment, and it doesn't cost a penny. Before we get started, I'd love to know a little about who's watching. Leave your name, your age, and the city you're watching from in the comments below. I read every single comment, and I always enjoy seeing where everyone is joining us from. Why your brain is changing every morning, after 60. Before I show you this simple habit, I want you to understand what's happening inside your brain each morning when you don't do it. Because once you understand the science, you'll understand why this is something you'll actually want to start tomorrow. After the age of 60, your brain faces 3 important biological challenges every single morning. Let's go through them one by one. The first is a decline in BDNF. BDNF stands for brain-derived neurotrophic factor. It's a protein that helps existing neurons survive while also supporting the growth of new ones. You can think of it as fertilizer for your brain. Research published in the Journal of Neuroscience found that BDNF levels in adults over 60 are, on average, about 33% lower than they are in adults in their 30s. And after the age of 65, that decline becomes even more pronounced. When BDNF levels fall, neurons become more vulnerable. The connections between brain cells begin to weaken. Memory retrieval becomes slower. Learning new information takes more effort. And over time, the hippocampus, the part of the brain that's essential for memory, can gradually shrink. The second challenge is the morning cortisol surge. Within the first 30 to 45 minutes after you wake up, your body naturally releases a burst of cortisol, often called the stress hormone. In younger adults, this increase is brief. Cortisol rises quickly, peaks, and then begins to fall. But after the age of 60, that morning surge is often stronger and takes longer to settle back down. When cortisol remains elevated for extended periods, it can place added stress on the hippocampus and suppress the production of BDNF. In other words, every morning, your brain is working against a biological process that can make it harder to maintain healthy memory function. The third challenge is the buildup of beta-amyloid. While you sleep, your brain activates a remarkable cleaning system known as the glymphatic system. As I explained in our video about overnight brain repair, this system helps remove waste products that accumulate between brain cells, including beta-amyloid. But it doesn't remove everything. By morning, a small amount of beta-amyloid can still remain. In adults over 60, the glymphatic system often becomes less efficient, meaning that leftover burden may be greater than it was earlier in life. If that pattern continues day after day, it can gradually add up over time. Now here's the encouraging part. The simple 5-minute habit I'm about to show you helps address all three of these morning challenges at the same time. It supports higher BDNF production. It helps regulate the morning cortisol response. And it may enhance the final stages of your brain's overnight waste clearing process before your brain fully transitions into the day. And the best part? It isn't a medication. It isn't a supplement. And it doesn't require expensive equipment. So let's take a look at exactly what it is, the habit, what it is, and the science behind it. So what is this habit? It's a specific form of morning movement, not a workout, not a trip to the gym, and not an intense exercise routine. It's simply 5 minutes of rhythmic physical movement immediately after you wake up. More specifically, a 5-minute walk. But here's the important part, not just any walk. It needs to happen within the first 15 minutes after waking, before your coffee, before breakfast, and before you check your phone. I know what some of you are thinking. Walking? That's the big secret? Stay with me, because it's not just the walking that matters. It's when you do it, and that's where the science becomes fascinating. Research published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences found that aerobic movement stimulates BDNF production in the hippocampus more effectively than any pharmaceutical compound currently being developed for Alzheimer's prevention. Another study, published in Frontiers in Neuroscience, found that the increase in BDNF begins quickly, peaks within about 20 minutes after activity starts, and can remain elevated for as long as 2 hours. But here's the discovery that many people never hear about. Researchers at the University of California, San Diego, found that performing this movement within the first 30 minutes after waking produced a 32% greater BDNF response than doing the exact same activity later in the day. Think about that for a moment. The same 5-minute walk, the same amount of effort. The only difference was the timing. So why does timing matter so much? It comes down to what happens in your brain during your body's natural morning cortisol surge. When you move during that window, two important things happen at the same time. First, your body appears to shift cortisol from acting primarily as a stress signal into one that helps stimulate BDNF production. In other words, the very hormone that can challenge your brain in the morning may also help trigger brain-supporting processes when paired with movement. Second, physical activity helps your body clear cortisol more efficiently, shortening the amount of time your hippocampus is exposed to elevated stress hormones. Research published in Psychoneuroendocrinology found that just 5 minutes of brisk walking during this morning cortisol window reduced overall cortisol exposure to the hippocampus by 27%, compared with remaining sedentary during the same period. This isn't really about fitness, it's about brain chemistry. 5 minutes, the right timing. One powerful biological chain reaction. Let me tell you about a patient I'll call Margaret. Margaret was 71 years old and a retired school principal from Columbus, Ohio. She came to see me because she was having increasing difficulty finding the right words during conversations. Her family had also noticed something else. She seemed less engaged, less mentally sharp, almost as though a layer of fog had slowly settled over her thinking during the previous 2 years. As we talked about her daily routine, one pattern immediately stood out. Every morning she woke up, made a cup of coffee, sat down, and spent nearly an hour scrolling through her phone. She hadn't taken a morning walk in years, so I asked her to make just one change. Walk for 5 minutes within 15 minutes of waking, before coffee, before checking her phone. It didn't have to be outside. A walk around the block was fine. Even walking inside her living room would work. 3 months later, Margaret returned for her follow-up. Her family reported that she was much more engaged in conversations. Her word-finding difficulty had improved noticeably, and Margaret described the difference in a way I'll never forget. She said, "It feels like the morning fog has finally lifted. Not once in a while, not only on good days, but almost every morning. 5 minutes, before coffee, every day, for 3 months. If you're still with me, and this information is helping you understand your brain in a new way, I'd love to have you join us. Subscribe to After 50 Health. Because next, I'm going to explain the one mistake most people make with this habit, a mistake that can dramatically reduce the very BDNF benefits we're trying to achieve. And as I promised, I'll show you exactly how to avoid it. Why timing is everything. Now let's talk about timing, because this is where the research becomes incredibly specific. Your body's natural cortisol awakening response typically reaches its peak about 20 to 30 minutes after you wake up. Research suggests that the increase in BDNF from morning movement is greatest when that movement begins before cortisol reaches its peak. In practical terms, that means starting your walk within the first 15 minutes after waking up. Think of it as a unique neurological window. Every morning, your brain opens a brief opportunity to respond more powerfully to physical movement. But that window doesn't stay open for long. It begins closing about 30 to 40 minutes after you wake up. If you move during that window, research shows you may experience the amplified 32% increase in BDNF we've been discussing. If you wait until later in the day, you'll still receive many of the normal benefits of physical activity. Your brain can still produce more BDNF. Your body still benefits from exercise. But according to the research, you may miss that additional boost that's unique to the early morning window. The reality is, many people spend those first minutes of the day scrolling through their phone, sitting with a cup of coffee, or staying in bed just a little longer. Meanwhile, that neurological window quietly opens and then closes every single morning. After the age of 60, it's an opportunity that's easy to overlook, but one that may be more valuable than most people realize. Let me tell you about a patient I'll call Gerald. Gerald was 68 years old and a retired engineer from Phoenix, Arizona. He was already walking every day. In fact, he walked for about 30 minutes every afternoon. He considered himself active, so he couldn't understand why his memory and thinking didn't seem to be improving. When I asked him what time he usually walked, he smiled and said, right after lunch, around 1 o'clock. His routine wasn't the problem, the timing was. His afternoon walk was still providing the normal benefits of exercise, including increased BDNF. But every morning, he was completely missing that early neurological window. I suggested one simple change: not a longer walk, not a faster walk, not a more difficult workout. Just move his walk to within the first 15 minutes after waking up. That was it. 6 weeks later, Gerald came back for a follow-up. He told me his thinking felt noticeably sharper in the mornings. His afternoon mental fog wasn't as severe, and he felt mentally clearer throughout the day. The walk hadn't changed. The distance hadn't changed. The effort hadn't changed. Only the timing had changed. The same 5 minutes, done at a different time, produced a completely different neurological response. So let me ask you something. What do your first 15 minutes usually look like? If today's video has you thinking differently about the way you start your mornings, type the number 2 in the comments below. What happens to your brain during these 5 minutes? Now let me show you what's actually happening inside your brain during these 5 minutes. Because once you understand the biology, this stops feeling like another health tip. It becomes a habit you'll actually want to keep. Let's walk through it, minute by minute. ###. Minute 1. You begin moving. Your heart rate rises slightly. Almost immediately, blood flow to your brain starts to increase. Research shows that ** cerebral blood flow * can begin rising within * 60 seconds * after movement starts. Even though the activity feels simple, your brain is already responding. ###. Minute 2. As blood moves more rapidly through your blood vessels, it creates something called * endothelial shear stress. This is simply the physical force of blood flowing against the inner walls of your arteries. That mechanical signal stimulates the production of * nitric oxide *, the same molecule we discussed in our video about beetroot juice. Nitric oxide relaxes and widens blood vessels, allowing even more oxygen and nutrients to reach your brain. ###. Minute 3. Now, something even more exciting begins to happen. The genes responsible for producing *BDNF in the hippocampus start becoming more active. This is the point where the brain's growth response is switched on. Research has shown that just 3 minutes of rhythmic movement can begin activating BDNF gene expression in the hippocampus. In other words, by the 3rd minute, you've already started the biological process that supports brain growth and repair. ###. Minute 4.
As you continue moving, your body begins dialing down some of the inflammatory signals that naturally accompany the morning cortisol surge. Specifically, levels of inflammatory messengers such as *IL-6*** and *TNF-alpha* begin to decrease through a process involving *myokines*, beneficial signaling proteins released by your muscles during movement. If you've watched our video on foods that feed dementia, you'll recognize these inflammatory markers. Reducing them helps create a healthier environment for your brain. #minute 5. By now, another powerful player enters the picture. A myokine called *irisin* is circulating through your bloodstream. Irisin has the remarkable ability to cross the blood-brain barrier. Once it reaches the brain, it stimulates even more BDNF production, inside the hippocampus, through a pathway that's different from the one triggered directly by exercise. That means your brain is now receiving support from two separate BDNF pathways at the same time. One is activated by the movement itself, the other is activated by *irisin, and they work together. So in just 5 minutes, you've activated 2 separate systems that support BDNF production. You've helped reduce the effects of elevated morning cortisol, you've lowered inflammatory signaling, and you've helped extend the brain's natural overnight waste clearing process, including the removal of Beta-amyloid. That's why researchers describe this brief morning window as one of the highest value opportunities for supporting brain health in older adults. Just 5 minutes, one simple habit, and a remarkable series of biological events taking place inside your brain before most people have even finished their first cup of coffee.
The mistake that cancels everything. At the beginning of this video, I told you I was saving the most important detail for the end. This is it. There's one common mistake that many people make before their morning walk, and according to the research we've been discussing, it may significantly reduce the BDNF boost they're hoping to achieve. Drinking coffee before the walk. I know, for many people, that sounds almost impossible, but stay with me because the timing matters. Research published in the Journal of Applied Physiology found that consuming caffeine before morning exercise can blunt the biological processes involved in the enhanced BDNF response that occurs during the early morning cortisol window. Why? It comes down to adenosine receptors. These receptors help regulate several important processes in the brain, including how your body responds to the natural morning rise in cortisol. When you drink coffee before your walk, caffeine binds to those adenosine receptors. As a result, the biological interaction between cortisol and physical movement may not occur in the same way. Your walk can still increase BDNF. You'll still receive many of the normal benefits of exercise. But the additional amplification associated with that early morning window may be reduced. That's why the sequence matters. Keep it simple. Wake up, walk for 5 minutes, then enjoy your coffee. Not coffee first, then the walk. Instead, walk first, coffee afterward. Let me share the story of a patient I'll call Beverly. Beverly was 64 years old and a retired librarian from Nashville, Tennessee. She had been faithfully taking a morning walk for nearly 8 months. She walked during the correct time window. She rarely missed a day. But she wasn't noticing much improvement in the cognitive symptoms that concerned her. As we reviewed her routine together, one detail stood out. Every morning, she made a cup of coffee, drank about half of it, and only then headed outside for her walk. I suggested making one simple change. Not a longer walk, not a faster pace, just reverse the order. Walk first, coffee second. 3 weeks later, Beverly told me something interesting. She said her walks felt different. She felt more alert while she was walking, and mentally sharper afterward. The walk hadn't changed. The timing hadn't changed. Only the order had changed. One small adjustment. After 8 months of doing almost everything else right. So let me ask you a question. Do you usually drink your coffee before your morning walk? If you do, type the number 3 in the comments below. It's one of the most common habits I see, and fortunately, it's also one of the easiest to change. The complete morning brain protocol. Now let me put everything together and give you the complete morning routine, exactly as I recommend it, based on the research we've discussed. It's simple. It doesn't require expensive equipment, and it takes only a few minutes. Step 1. Wake up. Before you do anything else, don't check your phone. Don't make coffee, and don't eat breakfast yet. Step 2. Within the first 15 minutes after waking, begin moving. Put on your shoes if you're heading outside, or simply walk inside your home. Walk for 5 minutes at a comfortable, steady pace. This isn't meant to be a workout. You don't need to break a sweat. You don't need to walk fast. The goal is simply rhythmic, continuous movement. If walking is difficult because of mobility limitations, don't worry. Marching in place, walking back and forth through a hallway, or any rhythmic lower body movement can produce a similar neurological response. Step 3. When you finish your walk, go back inside. Now it's time for your coffee. Now enjoy a brain-supportive breakfast, like the eggs and avocado we discussed in our breakfast video. And after that, check your phone. Step 4. This next step is optional, but it may make the benefits even greater. Whenever possible, take your 5-minute walk outside in natural morning light instead of indoors. Research from Stanford University suggests that exposure to morning sunlight helps regulate your body's cortisol rhythm through the suprachiasmatic nucleus, the brain's master biological clock. When natural light is combined with movement during the morning cortisol window, it may provide even greater support for healthy BDNF production. Morning light, morning movement, and the natural cortisol rhythm. Together, they create one of the most powerful combinations of free brain-supportive habits we currently know about. Step 5. Be consistent. This isn't something you do once or twice. Research suggests that the effects build over time. During the first week, you may experience the daily increase in BDNF we've discussed. By around week 4, your baseline BDNF levels may already be higher than when you first started. That means your brain may be producing more BDNF even before your morning walk begins. That's the power of consistency. Small actions, repeated every day, create meaningful change over time. So, here's the complete protocol one more time. Wake up. Within 15 minutes, take a 5-minute walk, preferably outside in natural morning light. Then come back inside. Enjoy your coffee. Eat a brain-supportive breakfast, and start your day, every morning, as consistently as possible. The cost? $0. The time commitment? Just 5 minutes. Now let's bring everything together. After the age of 60, your brain faces 3 important biological challenges every single morning. The first is a gradual decline in BDNF, reducing your brain's ability to build new neural connections and maintain healthy neuroplasticity. The second is the natural morning cortisol surge, which can place added stress on the hippocampus when it remains elevated for too long. And the third is the small amount of beta-amyloid that can remain after your brain's overnight waste-clearing process. The simple 5-minute morning walk we've discussed today helps support all 3 of these processes at the same time. When you walk within the first 15 minutes after waking, before your morning coffee, it helps take advantage of your body's natural cortisol window. Research published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences found that this timing is associated with a 32% greater increase in BDNF compared with performing the same activity later in the day. Morning movement may also help shorten the duration of your cortisol response. Research has shown it can reduce overall cortisol exposure to the hippocampus by approximately 27%, helping create a healthier environment for memory-related brain cells. As your muscles move, they also release irisin, a myokine capable of crossing the blood-brain barrier and stimulating additional BDNF production through a separate biological pathway. At the same time, rhythmic movement helps reduce inflammatory signaling, including cytokines such as IL-6 and TNF-alpha, while also supporting your brain's natural overnight waste-clearing process, including the removal of beta-amyloid before your brain fully transitions into daytime activity. Now remember the one mistake we talked about, drinking coffee before your walk. Because caffeine interacts with adenosine receptors, having coffee first may reduce the enhanced BDNF response associated with the early morning cortisol window. So keep the order simple. Walk first, coffee afterward, every morning. Here's the complete protocol one final time. Wake up. Within the first 15 minutes, take a 5-minute walk. If possible, do it outside in natural morning light. Then, come back inside. Enjoy your coffee, eat a healthy breakfast, and continue with the rest of your day. That's it. No expensive equipment, no gym membership, No complicated routine, just 5 minutes, at the right time, starting tomorrow morning.
Before we finish, I'd like to ask you a couple of questions. First, what do your first 15 minutes look like each morning? Leave your answer in the comments below. And while you're there, tell me your age as well. I read every single comment, and your answers help shape the topics I cover in future videos. Here's another question. How many of you drink coffee before doing anything physical in the morning? Let me know in the comments. My guess is quite a few of you do. But after watching today's video, I hope tomorrow morning looks a little different. If you found this information helpful, please share this video with someone you care about who's in their *60s, 70s, or 80s. Because this simple habit costs nothing. It doesn't require special equipment, it doesn't require an expensive supplement, and it doesn't require a complete lifestyle overhaul. It simply means waking up, taking a 5-minute walk before coffee, and giving your brain an opportunity to benefit from one of the most well-supported morning habits we've discussed. The people you care about deserve to know that this window exists, and they deserve to know that one small change in the order of their morning routine may make a meaningful difference. If you're enjoying these videos, subscribe to After 50 Health. Every week, I share research-based information to help you better understand how nutrition, daily habits, and lifestyle choices may support healthy aging, topics that often don't fit into a routine doctor's appointment. Take care of your brain. It's one of the most valuable things you'll ever have. And tomorrow morning, you'll have 5 minutes and a unique opportunity to invest in it. Don't let that window pass you by. In my next video, I'm going to explore an ancient seed that researchers have studied for its potential role in supporting nerve health and helping address numbness in the feet and hands after the age of 60. It's a topic that affects millions of older adults, and one you won't want to miss. I'm Dr. William Lai. Thank you for spending this time with me. I'll see you in the next video. And one final reminder, before making changes to your exercise, nutrition, or daily health routine, speak with your physician first. This is especially important if you have cardiovascular disease, joint problems, or mobility limitations. This video is intended for educational purposes only and should not replace personalized medical advice from your healthcare provider.